In cybersecurity, one of the biggest questions you'll face isn't about technical knowledge, opportunities, or even certifications. It's about job mobility. Should you stick with one company for the long haul, proving your loyalty and climbing the internal corporate ladder, or should you take the leap and switch jobs every few years to chase higher paychecks and broader opportunities? This is a question almost every cybersecurity professional wrestles with at some point in their career. It's not a simple choice, and it can feel overwhelming because the stakes are high. Your salary growth, your ability to move into leadership, and even your long-term retirement benefits can all hinge on this decision. Today, I'm going to take you through both sides of the debate. We'll look at the data from real studies on pay raises. We'll weigh the pros and cons of staying versus switching, and I'll share my own experiences of moving companies every 2 to 3 years. By the end, you'll have a deeper understanding of the trade-offs, and hopefully you'll feel more confident making the choice that's right for you. Let's start with some numbers. Research has long shown that job switchers tend to earn more over time than people who stay put, but the gap has narrowed recently. Back in 2023, ADP reported that job switchers were seeing average pay increases of around 15%, compared to about 5% for job stayers. That was a big advantage. But in 2025, the picture is more nuanced. Reports from Money.com and the Wall Street Journal show that job stayers are now keeping pace or even slightly outpacing switchers in certain industries, with wage growth in the 4 to 6 range for both groups. Business Insider also highlighted that in some professional and tech-heavy sectors, year-over-year wage growth for stayers exceeded that of switchers. At the same time, ADP's latest numbers still show switchers holding a small edge, about a 2.5% advantage compared to those who stay. So, what does this all mean? Switching probably does lead to greater earnings potential over the long term, but it's not as clear-cut as it used to be. The labor market has cooled, and the difference today is slim enough that other factors like stability, benefits, and career trajectory should weigh just as heavily in your decision. Of course, when the labor market inevitably heats up again, we should probably expect the gap to widen. Remember also that these are averages, and you should always base your own decisions on the data that is relevant to you first. If your current company only gave you a 5% increase in salary this year, and you're being offered far more than that by someone else, switching might be the most financially strategic decision for you regardless. Now, that doesn't mean staying at one company is a bad move. In fact, staying can be a smart play depending on your goals. For one thing, if you want to move into management, many organizations prefer to promote from within. They like leaders who understand the company culture, the systems, and the internal politics. When you stay, you also build deep institutional knowledge. You become the go-to person for how things work, and that makes you more valuable and harder to replace. Over time, you can accumulate long-term benefits that only kick in after years of service. Things like 401k match vesting, stock options, or vacation perks that grow with seniority. And let's not forget how this looks on a resume. Staying for 3 or more years demonstrates commitment and stability. It signals to future employers that you're reliable, not just chasing the next shiny paycheck. On the flip side, switching jobs is, for many people, the fastest way to boost your salary. Companies tend to save their biggest raises for new hires, not existing staff. By moving, you put yourself in a position to negotiate from scratch and demand a higher salary. Switching also forces you to adapt. Every new company has different tools, processes, and challenges, which pushes you to grow your technical and soft skills much faster. You also get to reset your trajectory if you don't like the direction your current company is taking you. Personally, I've made most of my career moves every 2 to 3 years, or when I saw signs a company was shifting internally in ways I didn't agree with. Those moves have opened up opportunities and given me control over my career path, and I rarely regret a move in the long run. Here's something I wish more people knew though. Your first job change is the scariest one. When you've only ever worked for one company, it feels like the whole world revolves around that place. Leaving it can feel like stepping off a cliff. I've been there. It's nerve-wracking. But the moment you land that first new role, you realize the world is bigger than your first company. You realize you can thrive elsewhere. And when you've done it once, the fear of switching jobs again decreases dramatically. You may also feel a sense of loyalty to your first company. After all, they gave you a chance when you were just starting out. But it's important to realize that loyalty in the corporate world rarely flows both ways. If leadership thinks they can save money by letting you go, they will. This can happen at any company, even ones that insist they're like a family. In the end, the bottom line is what really matters to those at the top. So how long should you actually stay at a company? There isn't a single magic number, but here's a guideline. Less than 2 years, this can look like job hopping, unless there's a clear reason like layoffs, a toxic culture, or unexpected company changes. 2 to 3 years, this is the sweet spot for many professionals. It shows you contributed meaningfully, but also want to keep advancing. 4 years or more, that's where you build deep expertise, stronger credibility, and potentially position yourself for management or senior leadership roles. The truth is, if an interviewer ever challenges you about your job history, you can explain it. Most hiring managers understand that careers are complicated and there are valid reasons behind every move. But before you rush to polish your resume, remember the downsides to frequent switching. Certain benefits like 401k matches or stock options don't fully vest unless you stay long enough, so leaving too early can mean leaving free money on the table. Do a calculation. Make sure you factor in any potential losses into the new compensation package you're being offered, or use them as leverage to ask for more. And remember, each time you start somewhere new, you may have to prove yourself again. A company might not see all your past accomplishments as relevant, and that can temporarily slow down your momentum until you've built trust in the new environment. At the end of the day, there isn't a universal right or wrong answer. Staying can lead to leadership opportunities and long-term perks, while switching can supercharge your earnings and broaden your experience. The key is to reflect on your own goals. Do you want stability? Do you want to move into management? Or do you want to maximize your income and diversify your experience quickly? The right answer depends on what matters most to you right now and where you want your career to go in the long run. Remember, you can always mix things up. Maybe you spend the first 10 years of your career moving around, picking up skills and experiences, earning more, and honing your technical expertise. Then you could decide to find a more long-term company to settle at, take on more responsibilities, grow internally. It really is up to you and where you want your career to be focused. Now I want to hear from you. Have you mostly stayed with one company, or do you switch every few years? Do you regret your choice, or has it worked out for you? Share your experience in the comments. I'd love to see both perspectives and hear advice that might help others who are facing the same decision. Thanks for watching. If this video was informative, please remember to give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more cybersecurity content. Till next time, happy hacking.